In 1956, the Canadian government decided to move the Naskapi family, who lived beside the Inuits nearby Fort Chimo, Kuujjuaq, 100 kilometers south in the brand new Schefferville city, built in an Innu territory to exploit the iron mineral. In this interview by Jerôme Saint-Onge, John Peastitute talks about this disarrangement when he decided with other Naskapi leaders to evacuate the ancestral territory to go down in the brand new Innu Naskapi reserve of Matimekosh. This is why we arrived here, because the government sent us here. We just did what we were told to do by the government. Of course, where we lived before, we were happy. We are less happy where we are now. I think it's different. We are treated differently. In the past, we were well treated to receive what we received. Now we get only food to eat and the housing. That's all we receive. When we were in the woods, we got things for hunting, like the bullets. Now, we don't receive that. Grandfather, how did you survive in Fort Chimo? How much money could you receive for your furs? I have told you how it was. 30, we were told. 30. I don't know if it's 30 cents, $30. What is 30? It was like that, wasn't it, Grandfather? They said to us 30, but without telling us the money reference. And in money, I didn't know what it was, $30 or 30 cents. I don't know. Maybe... The barters were not very expensive when we were there. The buyer did not give us a very good deal. For a token, Grandfather, how much did the Bay Company store give you? He didn't do it. He gave us money, but it was not really money. It was like a paper. It was money, but it was not. It was a piece of paper. It was like a certificate. When you get your welfare, you have to give a paper. That's what he was doing to us. And then we add up what we need to buy. Grandfather, do you remember if the store made you credit when you didn't come back with furs to sell? When we went into the bush and came back with barters, they gave us a certificate. That's how they managed it. When we got a certificate and then when we returned it back, it's like they banked it for the next hunting trip. This is how it was for us when we were in Fort Chimo, with the one who first took care of us. I remember years and years before it started, the barters were very expensive, but now they're really going down. They're worth nothing. They're worth nothing now. It's not helping us at all. since it devaluated, and it's not worth it. We're not very interested to hunt for it anymore. Why did you leave this region, grandfather? Is it because there was no money? Because there was no more food, no more clothing? Or was it because of war? It's the government. It's the government who started to come in to see us and wanted us. We did what he told us to do. The way he helped us before, everything was well done. And the way the woman and her husband, they were treated by the government, that was correct. But now, he sends us here and gives us this. This house is very expensive, and he gives us little money. He supplied us some clothing, but we don't have it the way it was. He gives us also white man food, $70 of food for one man for 1 month. But before at the other place, they gave you a little bit of money. How much money was given to each person, grandfather? No, it was not counted like that. The days were not counted. We were not paid for a day. They knew this, the police, the RCMP. They acted as our secretary. They were in charge of the government finance, what they gave us for food, clothing. How much money it was a month? I don't know. It was a lot compared with today. And that's how it was, where we were. That's how it was like. And now, we are here. It's a different lifestyle again from the story I was telling you. We don't receive as much as we did from the government. Now, we move here, yes, because we were told we will be giving houses. He did not mention they were going to take away our right to hunt or give us less hunting supplies. And now, we have to live with that. It's not like it was anymore. Now, I understand. Today, we don't get the bullets to go hunting the way we did. We don't get that now.
Il n'y a pas grand-chose à faire ici. C'est entouré de marécages. Puis il y a une petite sortie, mais là, c'est des Blancs qui sont là. Ça ressemble beaucoup à un camp de concentration que j'ai déjà vu dans les films. Le monde s'ennuie ici, surtout les enfants. Ben, ils ne peuvent pas faire grand-chose. Tout le monde sait qu'un enfant il aime ça jouer, mais là, il ne peut pas faire grand-chose ici. Les enfants s'ennuient. Qu'est-ce qu'ils ont à faire? Ils s'ennuient tellement qu'ils prennent des morceaux de pierre et ils tirent ça sur les fenêtres. Ils tirent ça entre eux autres. C'est ça. En fait, c'est mon opinion, ce que j'ai du village.
When the time came to leave, to come here at Lac-John, I imagine, grandfather, that you already knew that there was nothing for you here, that there was no home for your family. When you moved to Lac-John, did you use the canoe? Yes, but I didn't canoe. Some traveled by canoe. You've seen them, the first people who arrived here. Me, I asked if I can get a plane to come and get me, so I wouldn't have to travel by walking. I didn't have the right boots to walk, and a woman She didn't have the proper clothing for the kind of ride. We asked, "It's tiring walking the bush, and there are holes in our boots. That's the way it was." And the plane came to get me and bring all my supplies and my clothing. I asked the government for this. He agreed, and I was happy. Mishta. That's where our grandfathers and our grandmothers were. That was their land. And now, it doesn't exist anymore, where the government helped us before. Where will we get our barters from? They sent us here. They sent us Indians out of our land. Where can we go now? Only Eskimos stayed. They moved us and put the Eskimos in our place. Was there some unions between you and the Eskimos? And again, this is how we became mixed blood. They came to our land, our grandfather's land, when they went to Washwanigan. That's how we were brought up. There was a lot of native Indians, and then they slowly disappeared and became mixed blood. I'm sure you were eating fish and seal before. Yes, in the old days it was like that. The Indians always found a way to survive, but a lot of them died. They passed away because of starvation. We didn't have too much food. In those times, there was not very much illness, sickness. But look now, that's how people die now. But before, it was not like that. Before grandfather, were the Indians slimmer? Did they live older? During the trip to come here, there were elders and children who lost a lot of weight. They traveled from here, Fort Chimo, to here, and they arrived here. Even if they arrived here, the government couldn't help them. There was not enough food for everybody. There was not enough of the white man's food, even if it was given to them. They were given some bullets so they could hunt for themselves. But there was no caribou. No caribou. There was no caribou at all. Nobody could find it. And then they starved. Lots of them died. That's how it was. The story I'm telling you, it's how it was when we tell our story. Me, I'm telling you my story, the way I see it and the way I've seen it. I've seen a book. It was in the story that the Indians were dying of sickness. That is not true. That is the past, the story I'm telling you. I didn't forget. I've seen it all, and I know. I've seen it, and I know. And my grandfather's history, the stories he told us, I didn't forget them. Even though I didn't have a book, this is the story I'm telling you and how our grandparents were. When your community moved, there was certainly some of your people that were scouting ahead of you. You told me 2 persons. I imagine they had to walk during wintertime, didn't they? Yes, that's how it was. Those 2 people who came to this place and then went back to Fort Chimo, they certainly told you how it was here. I'm telling you again, there was like a secretary, a white man, who came to see us. It was not him who told us to come here. It's the white man's government. Fort Mackenzie, that's where we were residing. And then he came to see us there. And I heard him, and the people around me heard him. It's not him who told us to come to move here. Grandfather, was it wintertime or summertime? And then you thanked him? It was winter. He came in by a small plane. He arrived with a small plane. And he was with somebody else. And so, it's the government who asked us to come here, he told us. Then we agreed. Me, I did not agree right away. I didn't look at him. And when we moved to Washwanigan, the others came. After a while, the white man came to see how things were. Us, we stayed there. Monsieur Marcoux was there too, and his children. Half of us left, and half stayed behind. And then we were told to move. And then again, I asked for a plane. The story I'm telling you, this is what happened. I already was asked about this, and I'm talking about it again. And he lied to me too. I didn't agree. You're telling them like you used to, aren't you, grandfather? I said the same thing I said before. This guy was not anybody from 7 Islands. Him, I don't know where he came from, this secretary. You think it was the government's civil servants? Of course, that's them. That's their job, the government. He knows. That's what he does. He said that he would stay. This is history, and this is my story. This is how it was. This guy, you knew he was a government representative? Of course, it was the government. We thought it was in the name of the government what he was telling us. His words, we thought that it was the government. After all these approaches? Yes. For you to still have the right to go in the forest? Yes. To be sure that everything was going well, you decided to stay in your village. Yes, of course, that's what I did. I wanted to know how I was going to go. When the plane came to get us, to me, I thought it was the government's idea, and that we will all be together. Your scouts, they came in wintertime? I remember. I saw them. They came back to your village to present you how it was here. Yes. They asked them if there were jobs down there. I think it was after that that the government went to meet you, and it was at this time that you found a mutual agreement. Is that right, grandfather? Yes. The representatives, they came up here and after went back to their offices. They only discussed with you. Do you remember these moments? Yes. People told the story of how it happened when they were working here, but we were never told that it would be here, that we absolutely would go here. As I told you, the plane that came here, that's why we came here with that white man that came and told us to come here. He was some kind of a secretary. When you left your place, some of you left by foot and continued by foot. Is that right? They brought our canoes by train. The government paid. It was the secretary's idea to come and get us. How can we bring our canoes with us? And then bring them from 7 islands. The government gave us some canoes. There was certainly some difficulties during your trip. Of course, it was hard. The portage was always with the canoe. We know how hard it is. You know what I'm talking about. The portage, you still walk, taking your canoe to the other lake, and the ones that were coming behind us, they had a hard time. The people were walking, starving. The loads were heavy. It was hard. And then trying to carry our canoes again on our backs. We're tired. They're tired of that traveling. I understood how they were, even though I didn't see them for a long time. I knew that they were tired. I lived in the woods, and the ones that are coming here, they were sent by the government. There was certainly some people who lost their children or members of their family during the trip. That I don't know. To me, I thought everybody was doing fine during the traveling. So, in the end, you started to have difficulties when you installed yourself here, I imagine. Yes. Yes, of course. And then we arrived here. There was no housing to get in. It took 1 year. We had no housing where we could stay for 1 year. And then we found some cut wood, some in the garbage. We used that for our shelter, making our home, our own home, so we have a place to stay. And then the others started doing it with standing wood, and then we stayed here for 1 year. And then they started to build the houses, and they gave them to us. They built the office for the government. 4 new offices for the government. They were also given to us. In the past, when they gave you food, you really didn't like it. Is that right? Of course, it was nice, but it wasn't like this one now. And the stove we used for heating, we didn't use gas, but we used wood, and we had to get the wood. We'd get it. That's how we helped each other to survive. The government is not really helping us right now. We do our own things. Sometimes the food that they gave you was rotten. Yes. Yes. You really didn't like their kind of food, right? Yes. Of course, we didn't eat like that where we came from. And now we come here. And then we started to eat what was given to us, like meat, and where you have to buy your own meat when we have the money, and when we get the money from the government. That's where we get our meat. But we didn't eat like that before. We ate caribou, fish. That's the kind of food we had on our own land, where we came from. Goose, and the way the white man eats, we didn't eat like that. And we are still asking if we can eat the same food we had. We are asking, and no, the government is stopping us to do our hunting the way we did. I don't know what's going to happen. And what I'm saying now, this is how it is. That's how we feel. It's my story, and I know. And the government will do what he wants to do with us. Look at these children. They're young. When they grow up, they won't be able to eat the way they used to eat, the way we eat now. We can't teach them because they won't let us. And now, our kids will be treated like white men and will become white men. This is how I understood the book. Don't give up. We were told not to give up the way we live and what we make. That's what the book said. Not to give up our traditions, our culture. Do not try to be like a white man. That's how the book sounds. But I'll tell you how it was before the white man ever came. The caribous. There were lots of caribou skins. The signing of the Northeastern Quebec Agreement in January 1978 marked a new turning point in the life of the Naskapi. In compensation for the loss of their lands and ancestral rights, they received $9 million. The Naskapi are also given a 41.1 square kilometer of land by the federal government for their exclusive use and a 284.9 square kilometer of land. They also have exclusive hunting and fishing rights on 4,144 square kilometers. In the fall of 1984, they move into their new village, Kawawachikamak, 20 kilometers north of Schefferville. Today, over 540 Naskapi are living permanently in Kawawachikamak.